Basil,
Yes, I'm back. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. It's how what time is it there?
it's just after midnight here.
Oh, perfect.
Thursday the 12th, I believe. It's just after midnight.
Yeah. It's actually about it's the 11th here. And we are just, let me see, I'm just going to take a, yes, it is indeed the 11th,
The
November
11th.
11th.
And what
It
time is
is
it there? It's in the morning, I believe.
It's 8 in the morning. I woke up before the birds, and even the birds are going, "What the hell's wrong with you? For God's sakes, there's no worm for you. We have nothing to feed you. You're up too early." And I said, "I got to get to my office," and I'm here at my studio at my office. So
It's been a
it's
long time, Baz. It's been way too long.
It has, you know what, and I've been going back and forth. I miss the boys doing the tours that I've done with. And by the way, just make sure you got everything here.
Oh, I've got
You
everything,
know,
Baz. Don't worry
you
about
got
that.
every. Okay, baby. I love the background painting that you got. I have a packing blanket over my window here that for sound protection. Um, but yeah, it's been a while since I've actually been back in Oz, and I want to do a tour. Excuse me. I had a couple of promoters that say, "Yeah, let's do a show. Let's do a show." But when it comes to money, they're like, I just don't. And I said, "The hell with it." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do a tour. I mean, there's so many people that follow us when we do the Basile Fun Hour on Friday nights, and we have so much fun with that. And then
And a lot of people, look, I've joined in a couple of times, and a lot of people from here do join in. So
yeah,
obviously, you have left an impact here in Down Under.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if actually the international borders, will come down anytime soon. Do you think Biden will let us travel, or do you think Biden will lock you guys down, or do you think Trump will come back in there because he's ain't budging from the White House right now, Baz?
Well, not right now. You know, I'm a political scientist. That's what I actually got my degree in foreign affairs. So in college, and so for me, this is kind of an interesting thing because what really threw everything for a loop and why it's a little bit irregular as far as compared to 2020. And this is the serious side of Basil that you guys, before you and I got on, I'm talking about how I got you virtually pregnant
I
and that
know.
you and I are going back and forth. I mean, and then all of a sudden I just switched gears just like that. So, because I got a chance to work when I was younger, I got a chance to work on Capitol Hill, and I worked for a congresswoman, and I was a legislative assistant. And then I got a chance to work for DOD, the Department of Defense. So I do know what's kind of going on in
Please tell
the
us,
realm of
because
politics.
look here. I don't believe ever in history that our television stations have been dominated by the US elections. So many people have tuned in. Now, whether that's because of the pandemic and no one else has anything better to do here in Australia, particularly in Victoria. I mean, we've just now come out of some restrictions ourselves and are able to freely go out, but obviously playing COVID safe. It's just, we have our own premiers on there from either state. So we have our prime minister come on, and then all of a sudden the hosts or the reporters will say, sorry, we're going to go to the US elections. So it has been dominating our media here. We have people that want Biden, we have people that want Trump. There's to and fro's from both sides. For me, there is, there's some positives either side. Trump, I just love his personality. It was something different. He is a businessman, totally different to Biden. Biden, again, is very different again. So what is actually happening there? Because right now in the media here, and it's funny because the Murdoch media is all about Trump. The Murdoch media here is all about Biden. So it's a little bit contradicting. And look, you've been to Australia. We don't always hear the truth. So I really want to know from you, first of all, everyone's waiting, and there's a lot of people that are saying, Trump's got this. He ain't budging. Let's just wait a few more weeks. We've heard about the college
Electoral college.
votes. We've heard about votes from people who have passed, you know, a very long time ago. We've been told that there's voting cards that they've found in rubbish bins. What is actually going on there, Baz?
Well, you know what? I guess I'm going to have to give you a little bit of a history lesson of how it works. Now,
please, because it is it's totally different here. Because here you have to vote. There you don't have to vote.
No,
so,
you do not have to.
Victorians and Australians need to know.
But you know, but you all work, and I think you do, off a popular vote, do you not? When you vote. So when you vote for, let's say you vote for
all the votes get counted.
All the votes in all one bin get counted, and
correct.
Whoever has the most votes wins.
Correct.
Okay. In the United States, the forefathers who created the Constitution of the United States, and everybody talks about the Constitution, and even we had a new jurist who went to the Supreme Court. She was a strict constitutionalist, meaning that the Constitution is the Bible. And if you stray from the Bible, of that Constitution, if you will, you are then interpreting laws to fit your whatever way you want to go in a situation. I like constitutionalists who stick with it. I don't want it to be interpreted in a different way. The forefathers, probably the most brilliant individuals in the world who actually put this Constitution together. And what they did at that time, when they first created the Constitution, they created, of course, the states, each individual state. You know, we had from Massachusetts and New York and North Carolina and South Carolina and Virginia, and they all went down. But they all had different populations. Some were not as populated as other states. And so they realized this, and they did not want to have only one. Let's say if Virginia or New York had the most population, it wasn't fair for New York or Virginia or Georgia or whomever to win because of the popular vote. And they wanted to make it fair, to make it where even the smaller states with a smaller population had ability to make some type of an impact on the election. So in other words, every state here in the United States has this thing is referred to as these electors, the Electoral College. These are a group of individuals that are given, there's a number, and it's all based on population, okay? To win that individual state, that person may be Biden or Trump, and if you saw, I even printed out some stuff because I knew you guys would be.
Thank you.
Okay. If you see the states that are in red, okay, those are the states that Trump has won, okay, and those electoral college votes will go to him. The ones in blue are the ones that Biden.
Now, we've seen a similar map, but then they show us this other map where it's in dots, and they're saying, hey.
Okay, so what you have in this situation, all right, you have some gray areas like here in Georgia, here in North Carolina, here in Nevada. There are some darker blues here in Michigan, here in Pennsylvania, here in Wisconsin as well, okay? So what they did was to be able to win the state and to get those electoral college votes, and each state has an actual number of electoral college states. So I'm sorry for the history lesson, but to really understand what's going on, you really have to really understand. So what I have here is all 50 states, the 48 lower continental states, and of course, the 2 states, Hawaii and Alaska, okay? Each one of these, and I'll try and bring it up, has a number of electoral college.
Yes, I can see all that.
Okay, so what happens in this case, if you happen to win, let's say, Nevada, you will get, let's take another one instead of Nevada. Let's go ahead and take New Hampshire. It's a small state.
Why don't we talk about Pennsylvania? That's been the talk of the town.
Sure. And, well, so that's why these votes, these electoral college votes are important, because you can win the popular vote. meaning you get the most votes.
Wow.
But if you lost, the Electoral College will always be the predominant number that you need. So you can have, and it's happened before, where even like, for example, in 2016, when you wound up having Hillary Clinton, when she won the popular vote, but she lost the Electoral College, and you always have to go with the Electoral College vote. Okay.
Wow.
So that's the way it works. Now, typically in past, just about 95%, more than that, has always been the one who wins the popular vote typically wins the Electoral College as well. Not so much. These states, that's why every presidential candidate who goes needs to go to every state. The reason why Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, she didn't go to Michigan, she didn't go to Wisconsin, she didn't go to Pennsylvania. There are certain places she did not go, thinking it was in the bag, she was going to vote for. People didn't see it that way, and she lost the Electoral College. Now, the magic number that you have to have is 270 Electoral College votes. The issue is right now, because there's a law in every state. If you are within a half a point, that's 0.5, and we're talking millions of voters. If you're within a half a point that you lost, you can call for a recall. Okay.
Wow.
But you can do that if it's that. Now, if you're talking, well, he got 56% of the vote in that state, and the other guy got 44% of the. Well, it's a far enough thing. You don't have to do that unless there is a lot of fraudulent voting going on.
Now, is there a lot of fraudulent voting going on? Because here, this is all we're hearing at the moment, and Trump's on top of it, and hence why he's not budging from the White House. And then you have Biden that we see doing his lives and saying this is an embarrassment, and I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. Eventually he's going to leave the White House, but you still have the Trump team continually doing lives, and they're there and they're not budging due to these fraudulent votes.
Well, the thing is, and we're waiting for all the evidence to be poured out right now. Pennsylvania.
What sort of evidence are we looking for, Base?
Stuffing this. See, this is the first time. This is kind of a unique situation, and this is where the political scientist of me comes in. We have never had really mail-in ballots before. We've had very, very few for people who couldn't get out. My mother was handicapped, so my mother was offered one. Okay, so when she was in the wheelchair, it was very difficult for her to go to vote on that supposed Tuesday, whenever it was. Or I remember one time I was going to be leaving the country to come to Australia, and I had to vote. And I wound up voting, and I had to go to the Board of Elections. I had to show my identification. I had to tell them who I am, and then they said, yes.
Which is basically what we do here, and we vote, and they cross our names off.
Right, cross your names off, and then you vote and it's referred to as an absentee ballot, meaning I couldn't be there during the time when people were being elected, or the election was taking place. So you show your ID, you wind up going, and then I came to Australia because I was going to miss the election. Okay. That's the way it typically goes. Well, because of COVID and because of the situation that arose, people not wanting to be out, they said, well, why don't we do a mail-in vote? And the thing is, it always lends itself to fraud of people referred to as, stuffing the ballot box. Where people are taking a bunch of these, because I even received three actual ballots. Me.
Whoa.
And I took them and I tore them up. But the problem is a lot of these states, and they're getting the evidence, they're collecting the evidence right now from Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, even my state, and they even extended some of these mail-ins that they can be counted all the way up until November, I think this Thursday, in North Carolina, where I live.
So closing was last week.
Closing was last Tuesday, right?
Right. Votes are still coming in. So legally, those votes need to be counted.
Yes. However, there was
As long as they're dated or the envelope is dated prior to Tuesday's
stamped.
date.
It had to have been stamped the third, I think, what was it, the third or the fourth was election day? I can't remember now.
So yeah, prior to that date. So we've
you
also
had to have it stamped. You had to have stamped on the envelope that it was mailed out November 3rd or came in November 3rd. Now, here was the problem. On November 5th, the government and state governments wound up finding like there was a couple of postal workers who kept the 3rd, and they were hand stamping 3rd, even though it was on the 5th. Okay, that's a form. Okay, that's a form of stuffing the ballots. There is also people who have been accused, like there was 365,000 ballots from one area, all for Biden. And the only thing they scribbled in was for president. When we get a ballot, you scribble in who you want to be your president, who you want to be your congressman, who's up for vote, who you want to be your senator, who you want to be your local government officials. No one filled that, just the president part, 365,000, and not one of them came in for Trump. Wow. So just that alone, so it leaves questions.
We heard here that the Republicans had gone to oversee the envelopes being opened, and we were told here by the media that they had their windows or the screens blocked. They were very far. Is that true, Baz?
Very true. Yeah, what happened, that was especially in Georgia. Now, you got to understand that main city centers, and you know there's not a racist bone in my body, right? I mean, and people were saying, because, and it's true, those main city centers may they have been Philadelphia, a very large black population, Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, a very large black area. So what was happening, look, they're all Democrats, which is fine, and it doesn't bother me. My thing is, I want true numbers, I want accuracy, I want legitimacy, and I think everyone does. If there was cheating going on, for example, this is one of the friends, I had a friend of mine who's a big-time director and producer and everything, and he's a big sports fan. And he was like, you know, Smoking Joe Frazier was a boxer who fought Muhammad Ali back in 1970. And he was a champion boxer. He was unbelievable, Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe died in 2011, yet he voted in 2018.
We've got a lot of them voting now, Baz.
It's amazing. A lot of people don't know that in 1960, when John F. Kennedy became president, all right, he was actually going against Richard Nixon, okay? Richard Nixon was the vice president to Eisenhower, who was the administration passed. So Nixon was all over the place. Kennedy, however, was a good-looking man. He was a Catholic. It was the first time a Catholic was running as president. And he was losing the election that day. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Illinois was in question, the state of Illinois, where the city of Chicago is at. And what happened is that 100,000 voters, a block of 100,000 voters, all voted for Kennedy, and they were all dead. Okay, wow. Now this is back in the old days when you used to go and the curtain would come around you and you flick these little switches. And
but it's happening now, Baz, and it's 2020.
Yeah, it's 20, and that's the sad part. You know, my thing is, and people will sit there, oh, there's no cheating going on. Well, then there's nothing to worry about if that's the case. My thing has always been fair. If you don't like me, don't vote me in. If you like me or you love me or whatever, like you do, you know,
I do love you.
You know, just go ahead and you know, just I want it to be legal. Like there's a lot of times when people have signed for other people, and to see the matches. And here was the thing: you asked about the covering of the windows, right? Problem is when you get something like this, and it comes and you open it up, all right. These people were roughly 20 yards away.
That's
by the
that's a
window.
fair distance.
Yeah. How do you see how they voted? How do you see what should have
With
been done?
binoculars.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you had to see their signature. If it matched the signature on their election, that was number
Wow.
one. Number two, did they fill out the whole thing properly? Okay, so there are certain rules to do. Now, remember, this was the first time we really did this massive mail-in, and I thought it was a travesty because it always could, and I get could, lend itself to fraudulent
To
voting.
fraudulent voting. So
Yeah.
I heard that there was a new law implemented, and I don't know if this is correct or not, because you hear all sorts of things in the media. There's some new law now that if to do with the election, to do with the voting, there's some law that came out just recently, and that if you're caught with fraudulent or something, you go to jail. But I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. That's now what they're doing,
did
and
that
that's
just come
why
out now? Because we've got laws here in place. Why did it come out now? One would have thought that this law would have been around for a long, long time.
it was never easy to go when you have to go to an election area to go vote. Okay, you have these little booths, and you've seen them, where people go to their booths. They fill out with either a pen
Yep, which
or
is
a
what we do
black
here as
marker.
well.
You put it in there, then they go ahead and put it through a reader, and then you get your little sticker. I had one on the other day. It said, "I voted," and that's the way it works. In this case, what happens is when people mail it in, these things are coming in so quickly, and the live vote, Trump killed Biden, just killed him. The mail in, where we think the fraudulent thing, and again, I'm not saying it happened, but right now what's happening, there's a lot of people, when they found out about this law, that you're going to get automatic 5 to 10 years
10
in
years,
prison.
yes.
If you were involved, and everyone knows
Your
who
jails will be very, very full.
So, yeah, so evidently what's happening, a lot of people are turning state's evidence and federal evidence to show this is what we did, this is what I do, please don't send me to jail. Because unless there's some type of a penalty, there will never be a cure or a remedy for this situation. So that's always going to be, what happens in this instance. Now, for the sake of of democracy, and I love democracy. I love that we Greeks gave the world democracy. We gave the
Democracia.
world, we gave the world democracy, philosophy, art,
But are
architecture,
we
all the way down to
living the word?
zoology.
Basil, are
Well,
we living? We can create and give democracy, but are we living it?
Well, the thing is, in this situation, what to be quite honest with you, I have no clue.
No.
I really, you want to, I really don't. I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, I think what needs to happen is they need to go to every state where if Trump lost by a lot, like California, no question, there are a lot of liberals over there. They like to smoke their weed. They like to have their freedom. You got Oregon, you got Washington, you got California, you got, Colorado. They're all, they're sitting there. They're so stoned they didn't even know how to vote, for God's sake. But it's okay. The thing is, what kills me is how can we be the cradle of democracy around the world? And if these people are cheating, and I think that's one of the reasons why Biden is getting a little bit uptight to go ahead and just call it, because once you say, okay, man, congratulations, you're the
Yeah, it's done and
president,
dusted.
it's done. Now, he doesn't want to do that. Trump doesn't want to do that. Evidence is coming in, and we'll see what happens. Is this evidence enough to turn over the election? And if it has, and there are ties to
Has this ever in history happened ever before?
not at this level. Not at this level.
Wow.
People have cheated before, yes.
But not at this level. Because, I mean,
Not
not even at this level did the USA have the amount of people that did vote.
Well, here's the funny part. You're going to tell me that President-elect Biden got more votes than Obama did?
I know. I'm not going to answer that question, but I know.
No.
I know.
Now, look. Now, people are saying, well, you're racist. Listen, if Obama
No.
at my back door And I would be the first one. Hey, man, let's have a beer and play some basketball. And, it's kind of goof
He's
off,
kind
right?
of that kind of bloke, isn't he?
Do I like your politics? No, I don't like my cousin's politics, but I love my cousin.
But as a human being,
really
you like him, yeah.
I like the guy. I just don't like. And the thing is here, if the man of color or a woman of color, and you don't agree with her, you're a racist. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's a crock. I think the thing is, you can have your differences, and then, my God, you know how many times I've had differences with people and shouted at them at a meeting and back and forth because, again, there's another side of me that you don't know. You always see the crazy Basile. You never see the sir. So I've been in meetings before when I was in Washington, D.C., working on the Hill, when I'm even at the church and doing something for the church and trying to do something for the organization, and I'm screaming back and forth. And as soon as we're done with the meeting, hey, Jerry, you want to go out for a beer? Yeah, let's go.
That is
okay,
so
we
cool.
Go out for a beer.
Hey, tell me, would you have a beer with Trump?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you have a beer with Biden?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I actually met Joe Biden years ago when I worked on Capitol Hill. My cousin was the head secretary over at Senate Appropriations, and I just about met every senator that there was. I used to have, because I was on the House side and she was on the Senate side. So I'd go and meet her for lunch, and I come to her office. She goes, "This is my little cousin Basile," and I'm like, "Hey, she's really my mother, but she won't say." And she's like, "Would you shut up and don't say that?" I gotta get, in bed with some of these guys. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Hey, Baz, just touching on the pandemic at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's been controversy there as well because Trump obviously didn't believe it at the start. It didn't exist. Then he caught it. Did he catch it? That's a question a lot of people have been asking. We saw him in the hospital still campaigning. There were signs that he had it. Everything was kept hush-hush, and then it all came out that the First Lady got it. There's some that went through Melania got it. They went through the White House. Did he get it? And then he's announced it, and then but he's never said, you need to social distance. You need to wear a mask. He's never promoted the mask. He's mocked Biden wearing a mask. He's mocked Biden being in lockdown in his basin. We know that if Biden remains as the new president for 2020 for the next 4 years, we know the first thing he's going to do is try and stop the virus, try and contain the virus, stop the deaths. We're hearing here there's hundreds and thousands of deaths. Is that true?
Well, here's the issue. For every person that winds up dying from corona, from corona-19, and they go through the hospital, the government will give that hospital X amount of dollars, okay, to for all of their efforts to try to keep that person alive and whatnot. Remember, this country is the first country that actually, when they said we were running out of supplies and ventilators and all that, we immobilized immediately, almost like the Second World War, when we turned our car factories into making tanks and our other car factories making airplanes and this. We turned everything around, okay? It was a wartime situation. And what happened was when these hospitals and these other organizations found out what was going on and they were getting money from the government, everyone was dying of corona. Could have been a heart attack, but it was corona related. Could have been you died from pancreatic cancer, but it was corona related.
Okay, so then the numbers aren't correct.
I don't think the numbers are correct. Listen, for anyone who's lost a relative, God,
Look, here,
I feel terrible.
Yeah, because here we know that people have passed with coronavirus. We also know that people have had other underlying health matters.
Issues, right?
Issues. They could have been in aged care, for an example, and, they've got dementia or something, but then they caught coronavirus and they've passed. To me, whether you've got coronavirus or whether you've got another health issue and you've caught it, coronavirus took your life as far as I'm concerned, because you could have stayed with us for maybe an extra week or an extra month or an extra year and so forth. So
you can make that argument. But here's the thing.
But here you're telling me that these people did not have coronavirus in their system, died of whatever of another natural health issue.
Right.
But they've classed it as coronavirus because of the money.
Right. And that's the way it
Wow.
worked. And look, and a lot of these people, and as I said, the elderly, the governor of New York is an idiot. His name is Governor Cuomo.
I've heard about him.
Uh,
He's had massive
yeah,
clashes with Trump.
with Trump, and Cuomo was one of these guys who doesn't believe there's a vaccine. He's the same one who took senior citizens who had corona and they put them in a hospital, got them better. And what did he do? He puts them back in the same place in the nursing homes, and that's where they died. Okay.
Whoa.
So I have no use for him. He is, in better words in Greek, a malaka. Okay. And I mean that in the nicest way that I could say it. So
And in relation to
I just don't
vaccine, you
care.
guys have got one of the largest pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, there,
Pfizer.
the German
Yeah.
company with a Greek CEO. There you go. A German
Bravo.
company, Joe founded
Yeah.
German founded company in the USA with a Greek CEO. And it's the largest pharmaceutical one in USA.
Right.
So I've been told and
Absolutely.
read. And yet you're telling me the New York, I won't call him what you called him, doesn't believe in it.
I just have an issue with him because I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. Call it the way it truly is, not the way that your party thinks it should be or whatever the case is. When you have people dying and you're saying stuff like that, it certainly does not help the situation at all. So as far as I'm concerned with him, I have no use for him, none whatsoever. And I think he'll be found out sooner or later that he is exactly what I called him before. The numbers are tragic, but also if you take a look at how many people actually have died from flus like symptoms and stuff like that in the past, I mean, you're talking 70, 80,000 a year. Yeah, this was bad. Now, a lot of people say, well, how come Trump didn't say anything beforehand when he was doing this interview that he did with Bob Woodward back in March? You know, a president, in my view, is not only the man who's in charge of the country, is in charge of the defense of the country, of the people of the country, but he's also the cheerleader for the country. And the last thing you want to do is
create panic.
Is to create panic.
Which is what
Exactly.
he did say that, yes.
You know, you don't want to create panic because you want to say, oh my God, everyone run. Remember, we're an economic power. Now, my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, this is not fact, it's just my opinion. You're talking about a disease that came from China, that came roughly from some type of a marketplace that was 20 miles away from Wuhan. Wuhan is the one area where basically you wind up having where the chemical warfare, the chemical warfare department has where they do all their chemical testings. 20 miles away, all of China, 20 miles away. Is there some type of thing going on here? Could someone step in something and brought it out, went to a market? Could have happened. I've been to your open markets. I've been to my open markets. Could have happened, okay? In China, they have ducks and chickens hanging up and down on the front of a thing. Yes, this could have happened, all right? My personal opinion is because they came through Europe that we had people who wound up going from China to Europe, and from Europe, whoever caught it came to America. Do you remember when Trump wound up closing all of China down for travel coming into the United States?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then he stopped it from Europe as well. Okay, and what was the first thing that Biden said that he did? He said, oh my God, you're a xenophobe. You close out, you don't like the Chinese. You don't like this, you don't like that. And then Biden all of a sudden is like, I've never said that. I'm like, are you shitting me? You know, this is what you said. It's on, yeah. I've never done, and even Nancy Pelosi, who's supposedly the strongest person, female in the country, Speaker of the House of Representatives, she was dancing in the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco. So there's nothing to worry here. There's nothing to worry. Really? And then we were supposed to take your cue that Trump wound up killing. This man, in my opinion, you may not like him. He may not be your favorite. He may not give you the warm, fuzzy feeling that a lot of people want. Even my girls are going, oh, Dad, but listen, Biden, he's just nice. And he's wonderful. He's nice, But the thing is, I want someone who can be that cheerleader when he needs to be that economic mastermind that he was and still is, has done things, they made fun of him because he only paid $720 in his personal taxes. I run all my companies. I have a food company. I have a production company. I have another entertainment company, which basically, writes movies and scripts and everything. I run all that through my company here, and then I get paid a salary, and I pay a very, very little bit.
Yeah, I get all that.
Everyone, there's no one in their right mind going, oh my God, I just can't wait to pay taxes. Jesus, I just can't wait for April.
I know, but look, you know what? At the end of the day, those that are breaking the news, they know. But it's the way they're going to break the news, to get the people to like it and share it and talk about it. And unless people understand it, they're going to fall for it. We cop that here all the time, Basil. So tell me, because of the time as well, tell me, with Biden, do you think if Biden remains as the president for 2020, do you think he's got the strength after what the people have gone through so far to contain the virus, to put in place restrictions and lockdowns in certain areas?
The thing is, I really believe that, if you just wore a mask, okay, look, Trump never went out there and says, don't commit murder. How many times have you said, I'm not going to commit murder? None of us need to commit murder. We know certain things. Even though Trump didn't wear a mask, he was protected, right? He may have worn a mask in certain situations. He came to North Carolina in my backyard North Carolina was the first state in Wilmington to be reserved as a World War II memorial. That was a new thing that was just opened up for the country. And he came down here, people went crazy. Gaga, up and down the highways, lined up. We love you, we love you. Everyone came out. I wear a mask. I even have a mask on me. I take a mask
too.
Yeah, I got my little mask.
My favorite mask.
I got my mask right here. And I go like this. And how the hell people can recognize me? I'm walking around trying to buy some tools or whatever. Basil, how the hell do you know? That's why I can never go into burglarizing people or robbing people, because I'll have a mask on and go, aren't you Basil? Really?
Basil, tell me, how's the pandemic, has it affected you and your family, and how did the girls cope through it?
Well, the girls, the harem, they're okay. They drive me crazy. How I still haven't lost all my hair, I have no idea. But I'll tell you what, my wife looked at me, because this is the first time we've actually been together for so long, because I'm usually on tour.
And you're home now. Kula would have loved it.
Oh my God, Kula's like, she lost her mind one day. She goes, that's it. I've had it. I'm just telling you right now that I am going to marry. My next husband is going to be gay. I said, excuse me? He's going to be gay, gay, gay. He's going to wash the dishes. He's going to do the cooking. He's going to do the laundry, clean the house, paint the house, do the yard work outside, take me out for movies, take me out for shows, take me out to dinner. And that's stopped her. I went, whoa, let me tell you something. Hell, I think I want a gay man too, to be quite honest. I mean, how bad can it be? Yeah, it hurts a little bit in the beginning, but look at these beautiful creases that I got. But the collars, oh my goodness, So I just sat back and I kind of laughed at the stuff. My girls have driven me nuts, and God bless them. Zacharula kept her job. She's a director of art for a company in Wilmington.
Is she still doing photography?
She's doing photography. She's
still working for the magazine and doing the photography for the magazine as well?
No, she works independently. She works as
good girl.
A producer, but she is the art director for a company here in Wilmington, North Carolina. She had 15 or 17 people under her. They got rid of them, and they kept the #1 artist, and then they kept Zacharula, who's really the top artist.
Oh, good girl.
And so they've been working throughout the pandemic, although at home. And then Katerina, she graduated.
Katerina, she's all you. She's so funny. She's just you. I mean, that stunt she pulled when she went in to have her surgery, I kept playing that over and over.
For her teeth.
For her teeth.
Removed.
She's just amazing.
And Zakarula is the one who taped her. And I love the part we're taken to a fast food place. I don't know if you guys have Wendy's down there, but she taken to a
I think
fast
we do.
food
No,
shop.
Wendy's. Oh my gosh! No, we do. But I think it's ice.
Okay.
Is it Wendy's ice creams or donuts or something?
So I wound up. She goes, "Honey, do you want a milk?" She goes, "I want a milkshake." And I go by Wendy's, and I said, "Get me a vanilla." She goes, "I don't want vanilla. I want chocolate." You don't know me. I'm like, oh my God, because I got the wrong freaking thing. You're gonna get really. This is So I just yeah, and how I survived all this crap, I don't know, but I have. But she graduated this past spring.
So the
And she was
pandemic didn't
not,
affect her in that way at all.
well, it did.
Because
It
here it's
affected her
affected
in a
the
way.
education system,
Well,
particularly
it
in
has
Victoria.
absolutely all of our education system. Now, although she graduated and got her diploma, I'm very, very proud of her for that, and Zakarula. And all of us at our home are all college graduates, and we've done very, very well. But for my daughters, especially because Katerina wound up going through all this crap. And the year previous, we also had to deal with a major hurricane that closed down the schools for almost 2 months.
Oh,
And they
wow.
still stayed on that same curriculum without moving one way or the other that they had to finish. And she was stressed. She was unbelievable. She is now an eighth grade school teacher. She is
Oh,
now an eighth
she's
grade
so
school
good.
teacher.
That is so
And
good.
she's just, I mean, she makes me laugh. She makes me cry. These kids that, they'll kill me, cool up, I should have listened to my mom and dad. I'll never, my father and mother would always tell me, Basile, listen, never go to bed angry. Never, ever go to bed angry. My parents haven't slept for 50 years, okay? I was sitting there going crazy. I want to kill you. So to me, so what I've been doing, I've been actually, as I tell people, before I came on, I actually got to the office at 7 o'clock, and I started working on a script that I'm working on. So I've been punching up scripts for television shows, meaning that I've been adding funny stuff to lines and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm writing another movie. I finished one movie already, and I'm finishing up another. And I actually got involved with a company called Equinox Films out of Montreal, Canada. And my partner, Mike Mosca, and I are basically writing television shows and producing film. And
Fantastic,
so
babe.
that's what,
Fantastic.
yeah. So, but do I miss the stage? Yes, I really do miss the stage.
Do you think you'll go on tour anytime soon, or we're just going to wait for the election? We need to wait. What's
I
going to
think,
happen with the coronavirus? What's
I
happening
think
there?
we're, I think we're definitely going to have to wait until everyone feels safe. But Pfizer, and I give credit to Trump for putting this Operation Warp Speed. I'm having the burps because my kafedaki. So, excuse me. So, he has put together a group to create a vaccine. And not only has he done it, he has done it in record time and found a cure that is 90% successful.
Is it a
Who
cure,
else?
or because I read that?
Coronavirus, every virus.
It was giving you 90% that if you did catch the coronavirus, that you wouldn't get further sick.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, like for me, I haven't had any issues. Now, not that I'm old or not that I'm sickly or have any issues, underlying issues, but to me, to be able to put together this vaccine in a group of individuals to do this is something. And he got rid of all these regulations. He says, regulations be damned. We're not going to do that. We're going to go through this. A lot of people will sit there one day and realize that Trump, when he came into office, he is not a politician.
No, he's a
He's a
businessman.
businessman.
That's right.
And the difference between a politician and a businessman, a politician will say anything to get your approval to do what he needs to do. Businessman says, screw that. This is what we're going to do. I don't care.
Just
It's
do
for the
it.
good of the country. We're going to do it because he's a businessman. He delegates authority to those that he trusts. And if you don't do the job that you were entrusted with, you get fired. Simple. No
Did
BS. No, it doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. That's the kind of person that I like. I played football, American football, right? I liked a coach who was straight in my face and told me, if you don't do better, we're taking you out of the game. Guess what? I did better because I don't need, oh, it's okay, you'll get them next time. No, I don't believe in second place. I believe in first place. I try hard. I try to get my
was
kids.
Pfizer? It was Pfizer the pharmaceutical behind Trump's recovery?
Well, this was basically Pfizer. There were 5 different companies that were out there that were trying to work. Now, did they try to bring all their teams together to work this out? Maybe. I don't know.
Because it's never, because they've just given us a whole heap of different drugs that they used on Trump. So
Yeah, the
no one's ever,
cocktail that they gave him. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it was a whole list of them. It wasn't even like just one. And it's like, okay, he took that, but then he also took this and this and this, and he took the zinc and la-di-da-di-da. And then we heard about something else again. So
but come on. I mean, think about it. Here's a man, what is Trump, 76?
I don't know.
75, 74?
I've never really,
Okay.
yeah, thought about that.
Yeah. And he went to the hospital 4 days. 4 days.
And he campaigned.
And he campaigned, went out. Immediately, as soon as he got out, a day after, he entertained 25,000 people at an event. Come on. Dude, you can't get Biden to get out of his basement to go to a drive-in theater where they had 200 cars. Come on, man. I get so frustrated with that. But again, if it comes out that he was the president elect and then does become the president, he will be my president.
That's
Do
right.
I agree with everything? And that's the whole thing. The Democrats and those who voted for him, those who maybe have cheated for him, don't get that. And what hurts is if they did do illegal ballot stuffing or illegal whatever, counting the ballots, then it gives us a black eye as a country who basically we're the cradle of democracy and we believe in voting. And if that has actually come to fruition, this whole story comes to fruition, and all of a sudden it finds out that it did happen, you will never, ever see another Democrat again.
Wow. It would be a shame, though, because the one good thing, if Biden is the president, the one good thing is we've got a woman now. It's history. She's a black woman, an Asian American. They've never had that before. That's an amazing step.
Listen, I love strong women. You know that. I love strong women. I'm not intimidated by them. I admire them.
Do you think that she'll take over the president's role in the next 6 to 12 months if Biden is in? Can you see that happening?
I don't see that happening. It could if he has underlying health issues. Remember, that's the way it works. She will become president. The Speaker of the House usually will then become her VP. Typically, that's the way I guess it works because she's also a Democrat. But to be quite honest with you, I don't see. I look past her having breasts and stuff, and I just look at the politics involved. Do I admire her for who she is and what she's done? Yeah. I mean, Condoleezza Rice, who worked for the administration, for the Bush administration, Condi Rice, a black woman who was brilliant, but they didn't like her because she was a Republican. That was a big difference. So for me, I would have liked to have seen Condi Rice. To be honest with you, I think she would have been a brilliant person in there. I like smart, intelligent women. And if there happened to be the leader of our country, they are our president. I just don't agree with the politics. I didn't like her politics when she was working in California as the attorney general. I didn't care for her. She has double talked. She called when they were running for president and they were doing the Democratic to see who was going to be the Democratic nominee. What did she call Biden? She called him a womanizer, someone who fawned women and did this and had so many. And all of a sudden, oh, he's our president. We just love him.
Yeah, it's
Not too
usually the
much.
case, isn't it? Hey,
Yeah.
Baz, I know we need to wrap it up.
Why?
What I don't know.
I like it here. I
Tell
like
me.
it here.
I know. Especially when you can't tour. So
Yeah.
what have we got happening with you now in moving forward? We've got our basil spices.
Well, the thing is, the food company, I had to put the food company to the side just for a year because the new TV show that we're trying to get on the air right now is called Basile. And it's about a restaurant, New York City. And we had to do a rewrite to take into effect the COVID situation. So we had to do that, and how it became like the hit of the toast of the town because they stayed open and they were serving, instead of a drive-through, we had a walk-through where people would put in the order. And Basil would lose his mind because we're serving great Greek food in styrofoam, clamshells, and so who the hell eats moussaka with plastic forks and knives? For God's sakes, what the hell's wrong with you people? And for us, that was fun. So that's what we try to do. I'm doing a lot of voice work. One of the things that we wound up doing is a new cartoon that I worked on. I'm doing a voiceover for this documentary about a boxer. I'm doing that as well.
Now you're not using your little the squeaky mousy voice.
No, I'm not going to do that now. No, the voice that I have, because again, there's different voices that I do. So, and I really enjoy that because, before I was the voice of James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, and I was, years ago during the OJ trials. Good God Almighty, let me tell you white people what's going on. It's the big, so you do stuff like that. So, all my characters may be Bullwinkle Moose or whatever the case is. I like doing the Japanese anime, same thing. And for those people who are watching, you found this somewhat interesting. I'm sure you will, just because of your wonderful host.
Thanks.
Reach out to me. Seriously, go to Facebook, go to my fans page, go to Basile Fans, BASILEFANS. Like me. If you're on Twitter, it's the same handle. If you're on Instagram, it's the same handle. Join me, see the stuff that we post. I'm going to be leaving for Cleveland tomorrow to do shows in Cleveland, Ohio. And so I'll be doing 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. Then I'll be flying back to
Are they going to be
North
all
Carolina.
live shows, yeah?
Yes, live shows. But you know what I've been doing right now, which is really fantastic? I've been doing these Basile live, virtual, interactive, and in concert shows. And we have been doing these shows all over the country. We've already now got one booked in the UK. And so what it is, it's me with people watching me playing off of these people who are on this panel, and then we start bringing them in, the audience members in, like they're part of the show. And so I'm doing my show back and forth, and people are loving it. And I'm like, all right, you guys are getting into this. That's good.
That is so good. Isn't it amazing? Especially when we can do Zoom, you can do shows and lives. It's amazing when the hand has been forced.
Absolutely. It makes you improvise and overcome the situation. And it makes you think outside the box, where before, listen, I think we all can agree, and all your viewers can agree, that there's probably nothing better than a live performance. Nothing better.
Yeah, I love it, especially when they interact. I do a live on my Facebook page, the KK Factor. I do a live with my partner, and we call the live hashtag, it's KK hashtag with George. And I stumbled across that by accident because he is funny, and I never thought that I would ever be doing a live with George. And then one day
George Campagner? Is it George Campagner?
No, this is my partner, George.
Oh, your partner?
My partner, George.
Are you cheating on me? You're cheating on me. Mother of God. I've been doing this show for nothing.
You've got cool ass, so I can too. And he comes up all this comedy material. So we've been doing these lives, and then with the pandemic, things got really tough, and we didn't have it in us to do them. And then on Sunday, we were outside having a Greek coffee, and we're watching the USA, and I said, George, what do you think? And the material that came out of his mouth, I thought, I need to capture it. And I said, do you want to do a live? Let's put our Robes on and do a live. So we've been doing lives. Yeah, we haven't done one for a while, but if you get a chance, go onto the Facebook page, the KK Factor.
Okay.
And especially the one where we're dressing tradies clothes. That is hilarious because
Okay.
we do hands-on renovations. Yeah, he's quite funny, and I hope to maintain it with him, just to break it up a little bit, you know.
Well, you got to be able to do that. And listen, for all of you watching, listen, I've known I've known you for how many years now?
A long time. Do you remember,
Long
Baze?
time. Oh my God! The first time I met, and then I'll never forget the last time I was there. You kidnapped me.
Yes, I
And
kidnapped you.
You took me to some place that you wanted me to see one of my fans who was ill.
Yes, and you did.
And I'm like,
And she's still with us, and we bless God for that. She's still with us, yes.
And I'm like, where the hell are you taking me? If you want to rape me, you could have done it in the parking lot. You certainly didn't have to travel an hour away in the middle of kangaroo land to go ahead and rape me. I mean, I was offering my body to you for that.
And then we had George Campagnaro and his whole family waiting. It's like, where's Basile?
And I come back, Mike, we waited for you. I don't know what the hell happened. I said, I got kidnapped. He said, well, did you get raped? I said, no, but I visited somebody. You know, and he goes, what the hell kind of... So I started laughing. I'm like, okay.
Do you know, Baze, the one time I remember with us was when we did a photo shoot at the Vanilla Cafe in Oakley. And we were surrounded by hundreds of people, and we're in that little corner. All the they had it barricaded, and hundreds of people and photographers, and we did this photo shoot, which appeared that it showed me and you having this pash in the corner of the Cafe Vanilla.
There was no two ways. You wanted me.
Weren't even touching, but the way the cameraman took that picture, it was gold. And I remember hours later when the picture went up, and I received a phone call from a family friend of yours who's got a TV station, and I remember her contacting me and saying, what do you think you're doing? Do you understand? Basile is married to my friend Kula. How dare you? And I'm like, oh, no. This was just a photo shoot. We didn't do anything.
I was innocent. I was so innocent in that. And she was on top of me, white on rice. I am telling you people something who is watching this show right now. This is the woman to blame right there. Right there. I'm just telling you. I didn't expect it. And afterwards, I felt dirty. I don't know why.
It's amazing, though, Basile, because a lot of people don't know how productions are made, publicity stunts. I mean, we see reporters now on national news showing the beach, and it's showing that there's hundreds of people not social distancing, and yet I'm at the beach and I'm walking, and you see them in groups, so it's safe. But the angle that the cameraman takes or the photographer can make it look like you just can't breathe. It's, you know.
And it's ridiculous. Remember, I live on the beach in North Carolina, right? I'm on the Atlantic Ocean. So we see this all the time. Now, sometimes there are times and we walk from our house right to the beach, you know, we're right in front of the water, and it's great. And it makes it look, sometimes it's desolate, and sometimes it is packed during the holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, you know, whatever holiday in the summer that people usually go to the beach, and they're there. But I got to tell you, because I know you have to. We've been saying we have to go, and this thing keeps on
this
going.
Is Zoom because I don't know how long I can. I'm guessing I can. I'm still recording. I'm guessing it's still going.
But I just, you know, want to say that I miss you. I miss my fans in Australia, and I'm not just talking the Greek fans. I'm talking all the fans.
Everybody,
maybe my Lebo fans, my Lebanese fans, my Italian fans, my Polish, you name it, from A to Z. Every time I come to Oz, you make me feel like I'm an Australian. And I want to thank you all, especially you, sweetheart.
Thank you, Basile.
You know, Rula, you know,
and thank you for the opportunities as well. It's not every day
Well,
I can put you in my car and take you to visit someone, a fan that can't come to you, or, go and surprise somebody else and look what I've got for you.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, she's magical. She must have power. She stole basil from a Greek
You
festival.
remember when I brought you to my place and George had his nephew here and wife, and it's like, oh.
I'm walking in there, and they're like, and I'm like, well, who are you? And I'm like, I'm very frightened right now because you could have killed me, and no one would have known. In years and now, there'll be an Aboriginal tribe digging up and goes, isn't that basil bones? Yes, it is. Okay, that's great. I still love one of my favorite jokes. One of my jokes I did when I was in Australia. I would say that my wife is half Greek, half Aboriginal, and everyone's going, yeah, did just in there.
I believe you in the summertime because Kula does get very, very dark. I've seen photos. She gets very dark.
Very dark. And I said, my wife's name is Kula Bula Bula. And they just look at me and they think that's the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, really? That's what killed you? My other jokes, not so much. But Kula Bula Bula did it. Okay, that's fine. But I can't wait to do another tour in Australia, to be quite honest with you. And I think we want to do some big, massive tours in Sydney, in Melbourne, Adelaide. I want to go up to the Gold Coast in Brisbane. I want to go, I'll shoot over to Perth, up to Darwin. I even want to do a special show. I would like to go at that other little northern part where all those Greeks are that no one gets any attention.
Are you talking Darwin?
Well, Darwin's on the other point. What's on the right side point that you guys have up
We've
on
got WA, Northern Territory, Darwin. They've got Ayers Rock, South Australia, Melbourne, New South Wales, Queensland.
There's
Tasmania.
Okay, no, Tasmanian's down south. I'm talking Darwin, if you're looking at a map of Australia, will be on your top left-hand corner.
Up the top,
right,
straight up, yes.
Right. What's the other side?
Broome.
That goes straight. Broome, but there's also where they grow all the agriculture up there. And it's very, very hot and warm up there. Oh, my God, I know. I forgot the name of the place, for God's sakes. But I did a show there, a pro bono show.
You're not talking towards Perth and going down to Margaret River.
No, honey, you're talking Perth is on your west
You're still
coast.
going up towards Broome way.
Yeah, I'm talking East Coast. Man, they gave me a plaque because I'm so embarrassed.
Oh, God, no, I can't think of it. Northern Territory.
And they grow all the,
We're not talking Cairns and
it's by a place called Magneto Beach. Magneto Beach.
Oh, I don't know it.
Yeah,
oh.
But just wonderful. And I felt sorry for that community because they don't have Greek artists that came up there. Oh. So one time my manager told me, he says, hey, let's go up there and do a free show for him. I said, sure. And we went up there, took a quick flight, and it was great. And it was was like the height of your summer, and it was the height of our winter. And I came with my Harley Davidson leather jacket and everything.
Oh yes, where we can see your butt.
Listen, I have a great ass. I really do. As voted by the boys in Cell Block C at the one prison I like to entertain. So anyway, I actually Townsville.
Okay,
Townsville. And I did a show there and just fell in love with the people there. But I fall in love with the people all over in Australia. And, Adelaide is always special to me. We did shows there with the boys, and I did shows there on my own. But it's time for me to come and do some major big concerts because years ago I came and I did Her Majesty's Theater, and we sold that out, 3,500 people. We sold out other shows.
I think you're going to sell out all the shows here too, Baze, because everyone is dying to get out. It's nearly been a year of nothing, particularly Victoria. I mean, we've had a long lockdown.
I think we're going to have to get together, and I'm going to have to, I'm going to have my management, look for some promoters that are legit promoters, not Costa who paints on the side and does promoting, on the side too.
Well, look, I'll give you some promoters, especially one big one in South Australia. Definitely, we've got one there that's amazing. There's promoters everywhere. I'm sure we'll all assist.
We'll talk later about that. But for all my fans in Oz, I love you all. I love you. You know, you guys are just amazing. And so I hope I, you know, entertained you. I hope I had a chance to educate you. I haven't done an education thing since I tutored some guys in government, basketball players. But it's been an honor to be on the show, and thank you all so much. Again, if you guys want to follow me, go to Basile Fans, BASILEFANS on Facebook. Like me, follow me on Twitter, on Instagram.
Basile Live.
BasileLive.com is our website. That's BASILELIVE.com. Check out our tour dates and where we'll be at. Honey, I love you. And I don't know what else I could tell you. I will talk to you soon,
Basile.
even though you're with George now.
And you're still with Cooler.
Yeah, but because I don't want to lose half my crap in my garage. That's why I'm still with Cooler. And nothing says I love you more than that.
Blessings to you all. Keep safe.
I will, Kukla.
Thank you, Baze.
I love you, sweetheart.
Bye.
And to everyone out there, I love you guys too. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, Kukla.